Hello, I am at Changgyeonggung Palace in Seoul. Changgyeonggung Palace is one of the 5 major palaces in Korea. It is known as the palace with the best harmony with nature. This place is famous for its beautiful flowers in full bloom when you visit in spring. However, on the day I visited, the wind and rain hit yesterday, and all the flower petals fell. It's such a shame. The bridge you see in front is a famous place where flowers bloom in spring. If you look at it now, there are no petals. Originally, Changgyeonggung Palace was considered the same palace as Changdeokgung Palace, which is located right next to it. It was called Donggwol. The meaning of Donggwol in Korean is East Palace. The most famous palace in Seoul, Gyeongbokgung Palace, was called the North Palace. Changgyeonggung was first built in 1418. Sejong, the 4th king of Joseon, built a new building here to house his father. It was initially small, but it gradually expanded to become what it is today. Changgyeonggung and Changdeokgung Palace, which are located right next to it, had complementary functions. Changdeokgung served as the royal office and research center, and this was the royal residence. We arrived at the main building of Changgyeonggung Palace, Myeongjeongjeon. This building is the oldest building among the palace buildings in Korea. Korea fought several wars with Japan and China, and because it was a wooden building, it often burned down. The main building you see in front also burned down in the war with Japan in 1592. It was rebuilt 24 years later in 1616 after the war ended. Although other palaces were burned down several times after that, this building alone remained in its 1616 appearance, and is considered very important as a historical resource of Korean architecture. The unique feature of this palace is that it is designed to face east, unlike other palaces in Korea. In Korea, due to geopolitical reasons, many buildings have doors facing south. This is because in winter, cold winds blow from the north, and in summer, cool winds blow from the south. The reason why this building has a door on the east is that the royal family could fully receive the energy of the rising sun in the east. It was believed that they could properly run the country only if they fully received the energy of the sun. Let's take a look inside the building. Since it is such an old building, the color of the wood is clearly visible. Originally, wood was painted with a colorful paint called Daeonsil. This building shows traces of the paint peeling off. In the front, there is a chair where the king sits. Behind it, you can see a painting. It is a painting called Ilwolobongdo, and it always followed behind the chair where the king sits. Whenever the king attended an official event, the painting always followed the king. If you look at the ceiling, you can see 2 bird sculptures. It is an imaginary animal called Bongwang. That bird symbolizes kindness, generosity, and wisdom. The birds were hung from the ceiling to indicate that the king should not oppress the people and should govern well. After looking around the inside of the building, I look back. The harmony between the old palace and the modern high-rise buildings behind it is really good. The high-rise buildings you see behind the palace are Seoul National University Hospital. It is the first hospital in Korea where Western medicine was introduced in 1908. It started as a royal hospital and is currently one of the top 5 hospitals in Korea. The building on the left of the main building was a simple office space. However, it was mainly used for banquets. As explained above, this place was mainly used as a residence and resting place, and the office space was used in another palace. They are connected by small corridors so that you can move between buildings without being affected by the weather. Personally, this is my favorite place. A male and female couple are taking a commemorative photo. They must be a couple preparing for marriage. When Koreans prepare for marriage, they wear traditional costumes and take commemorative photos. This is a good place to take commemorative photos. There are fewer visitors than other Korean palaces, so it is easy to take photos freely. The building we have seen so far was the royal office. From here on, it is the royal residence and resting space. It is a space where women, such as the queen and the king's mother, mainly lived, and the crown prince also slept and lived here. The king also slept here occasionally, but it was not his main residence. The king mostly slept in Changgyeonggung Palace, right next door. If you look to the left, you can see a high wall. If you go over that wall, you will reach Changgyeonggung Palace. I visited Changgyeonggung before and uploaded a video. If you are curious, you can watch it on my channel.
할아버지가 이제 뭐 이방원의 뭐 아들이었고 뭐 이런 식으로
잠깐 있으면 한번 이거 지면
BB 롤로
뭐지? 과학에 픽을 잘한다고? 체력 고정해야 일단
오늘 가요? 오늘 가요?
I climbed up the stairs and looked down at the palace. This is the only palace in Korea where you can look down from above like this. Other palaces can only be seen by climbing up to a tall building outside. You can also see Namsan Tower, a landmark of Seoul, in the distance. The harmony between the Seoul cityscape and the palace is really beautiful. When traveling to Seoul, Gyeongbokgung Palace is the most famous among foreigners. It was the first palace built by the Joseon Dynasty. However, the most Korean building is Changgyeonggung Palace. Gyeongbokgung was designed based on Confucianism. As such, it has a symmetrical structure, and there is almost no grass or trees around it. That is why Korean kings were very reluctant to live in Gyeongbokgung. They felt suffocated when they lived there. However, Changgyeonggung is completely different from Gyeongbokgung. In the first place, this place was built because they didn't want to live in Gyeongbokgung, which was originally built. Regardless of Confucianism or anything, they wanted a space where they could live comfortably. If Gyeongbokgung is a Western-style building that cultivates nature to create a place for humans, Changgyeonggung is a form that fits humans into nature. It is built by making the most of the natural state. The walls are low, and the rocks that stick out on the ground are not leveled, but left as they are. This is probably why visiting Changgyeonggung feels like visiting a park. This time, we walked to the garden on the right side of the main building. There are walking gardens on the left and right side of the main building. There is a beautiful pond on the right side, so I want to go see it.
Way to be princess. For that is princess. Because you're going to marry the king.
Changgyeonggung Palace has a painful history. In 1911, during the Japanese colonial period, the palace was converted into a zoo, botanical garden, and museum by the Japanese government. It was restored to its former appearance in 1980 after independence from Japan. The animals and plants that were there were moved to the newly built Seoul Grand Park. If you walk about 5 minutes from the main building of the palace, you will come across the pond called Chundangji. Near this pond were the royal orchard and rice fields. They grew grains and fruits needed by the royal family. In addition, the king also farmed here. It was to experience firsthand how hard the people worked farming. Maybe that's why he studied efficient farming methods and improved the yield. The royal family collected only 10% of the rice harvest in taxes. It was to avoid burdening the people with excessive taxes. However, due to the corruption of middle managers, the actual amount of taxes collected from farmers was said to be as high as 50%. There were many officials who secretly intercepted the money. Unfortunately, it was a system that was not well maintained. Honest officials who were angry at this fought to correct it, but as time passed, the number of corrupt politicians increased, and this became the decisive cause of Korea becoming a Japanese colony. You can see a Western-style building in the distance. This is the Royal Botanical Garden, called Daeonsil. It was the first Western-style greenhouse in Korea, and the largest in the East, when it was completed in 1911. Even at that time, it grew tropical plants that were hard to find.
자기가 수집하는 거 해놓은 거.
나는 여기 한참 걸릴 줄 알았어.
As soon as I entered the building, the nice scent of grass was impressive. The scent of grass was so good that I wanted to stay here. I don't know much about plants, but it seemed like there were a lot of rare plants. On the way back, after finishing touring the palace, I saw a cute cat. I'm back at the palace entrance. This concludes my tour of Changgyeonggung. Thank you for watching the video.